The word nightingale means singer of the night. The song nightingales sing is so beautiful that poets have written about it.
Owls might not make the same facial expressions as we do, but you can still tell what they're feeling by looking at them. A curious owl bobs its head up and down. A scared owl pulls in his feathers, and a relaxed owl will let his feathers all hang out.
The earliest mosaics were made in ancient Greece thousands of years ago as decoration for the inside of houses and buildings. The Greeks used small pebbles to make art of people or animals.
If you ever travel to the moon, don't worry about packing your raincoat and umbrella. There is no weather on the moon because it has no atmosphere. That means no rain, no snow, not even any wind.
A gondola is a cable car or lift that hangs high above the ground and carries people up and down the side of a mountain. But it can also mean a boat that's used in the water canals of Venice, Italy. Ancient Roman mosaics were created more than 4,000 years ago. Many of the Roman mosaics decorated the floors of villas and were made out of pieces of marble, stone, or pottery.
The Matterhorn in Switzerland is one of the most famous mountains in the world. It is especially hard to climb because of its steep rock faces and the unexpected snowstorms that can appear on the mountaintop. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart finished his musical masterpiece, Eine kleine Nachtmusik, in 1787, the same year that the Constitution of the United States was written.
Like many polar animals, the coat of a snowy owl changes color from brown in the warm months to white in the winter, so the owl can blend in with the snow and stay out of sight of the predator.
Reindeer shed their heavy fur coats every year, but that's not the only thing they lose. Reindeer have large antlers that fall off each winter, and they grow new ones every spring. The farmhouse Claude Monet painted in Road from Saint-Simeon belonged to another artist, Eugene Bourdon. Monet, Bourdon, and other famous artists spent time living and painting together at the farmhouse in Normandy. Claude Monet loved to see how the different lighting changed the way the subjects in his paintings looked, so he would paint the same scene over and over again at different times of the day or year.
Nikolai Rimsky-Korsakov's song, The Flight of the Bumblebee, was written for a Russian opera called The Tale of Tsar Saltan. It tells the story of a prince who becomes a bumblebee so he can visit his father without being seen. If you think winter is long where you live, try living in the Arctic tundra. Once October rolls around, the tundra won't see sunlight again until early March.
It's freezing in the Arctic during the winter, but animals who live there have special tools to keep them warm. Arctic foxes have small and round ears, so they don't lose any extra body heat, and their short, bushy tails keep them warm on the ice.
Even though he loved music, Nikolai Rimsky-Korsakov gave up his dream of composing when he was 18 years old and sailed around the world with the Russian Navy. But even though there were no instruments on board, Nikolai composed part of a symphony while living on the ship.
Windmills were invented more than 1,000 years ago. Back then, they were used to grind up grains and pump water. Today, they're called wind turbines, and they can make electricity. Even though Holland is famous for its tulip fields, they were first brought to Holland by the Turkish in the 1600s. Back then, some types of tulip bulbs were so rare and valuable that they were worth more than a house.
Antonio Vivaldi's dad was a professional violinist. Maybe that's why he wrote his famous concertos, The Four Seasons, to be played on the violin. Today, The Four Seasons is one of the most popular pieces of classical music.
France's king, Louis XV, loved Antonio Vivaldi's composition, Spring from the Four Seasons. And since he was the king, he could hear it any time he wanted. All he had to do was order the song to be performed.
Japanese artist Utagawa Hiroshige was a ukiyo-e master. Ukiyo-e means pictures of the floating world, and it's a special kind of Japanese art. Utagawa Hiroshige carved the image for mountains and river of Kiso into a block of wood and then made a print from the wood block. Hiroshige made more than 5,000 prints from his different wood blocks.
We might put on more layers in autumn, but many trees shed their leaves when the weather gets colder. Leaves lose their green color and fall off the trees in the fall because the days are shorter and they don't get as much energy from the sun.
Before lighthouses were built to warn ships sailing at night of rocks and shoals in the water, people lit fires along the top of cliffs to help boats see the shore.